So with that part, in the manifestation part, and I think you've been asked this before, but so the what's in it for you as inner being, it's created through the contrast.
You've never asked a better question, and we've never given a more important answer. Satisfaction. And that's what's funny. We love you so much, but that's what's funny. We love you so much. But that's what's funny about the way most of you behave relative to all of this, because you say, I have to what? I have to hold myself in a good feeling place in order for what I want to unfold. And we say, we know happiness and satisfaction is a big price to pay. But you see, because we understand, and you're coming to too, that we never get it done, that we are eternal beings. And since we are eternal beings, that means there must continually be more reason to ask, more focused points of view to flow energy toward. And so since we understand that we never get it done and that you never get it done, then we don't let ourselves feel dissatisfaction while it's still evolving. And here's the piece for you that you're coming to get, you're getting it right here and now, is that if you want something, let's say it's a new Tesla, and you want it and you've seen it, you walked through the shopping center and there it was, it is red and it is huge, it is big, it is the SUV model, and the doors open in such amazing ways, and the interior is like nothing that you've ever sat in before. And when you drive it, you never want to get out of it, ever, ever, ever. In other words, you feel your life would be so transformed if you could just have this beautiful beast in your garage. And so you really, 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 really want it, but you're nowhere near in a position to make that happen for yourself. And so your desire is all laced with angst and disappointment and discomfort, because you want something that you also believe that you cannot have. And you believe that if all of a sudden it could miraculously just appear in your garage, that some angel could bring it to you and just plunk it right there, that then you would be happy. But until then, you are unhappy. Then it cannot ever come. And the reason that we're dramatizing this more than is necessary is because we want you to realize that there is always going to be some newly discovered desire that hasn't manifested yet. If it must have manifested before you let yourself feel satisfaction, then you're always going to be in a place of dissatisfaction, which means things are going to really, really, really slowly, if ever, come to you. Which means almost everybody on the planet has to prove to you how easy it is before you allow yourself to believe that you too can experience it, when it does not need to be that way. And so let us be clear about this, because this is really at the heart of what you're reaching for. We never get it done. There will always be a new experience in life that causes a new desire to hatch, a new desire to be asked for, and new energy to be summoned, and new creation to begin. And if we can help you find a way to feel exhilaration over that creative process, over the experience of the thought coming, rather than need the manifestation in order to be happy, then you have found the secret to happiness. You've found the happily ever after quotient. Then you are among those that are joyful in your day-to-day experiences. A few weeks ago, Esther was in her house in Del Mar, and Jerry and Esther found this place about 10 years ago. And they put a wonderful sound system in it that Esther never understood. They weren't there very much, and she never really took the time to learn it. And they've been back and forth. And so recently she sat down and she took the contraption, and it operates through the television. And she just started pushing buttons, and she discovered all kinds of wonderful things. And she found that with the right sequence, which she sort of stumbled upon because she was in the receptive mode. In other words, it seemed accidental when it was very specifically guided by someone, Jerry, who knew. So she discovered that she could play it through all the speakers on all the porches and all the courtyards and in all the gardens and all through the house, upstairs and downstairs. It's a sophisticated sound system that has so much potential for delivering beautiful sound. And then she found a menu of all kinds of different genres of music. And so now she's really having fun. So she's got it on full volume. the neighbors were delighted. And she's making her way through it. And she discovered a station that she had not listened to before that was rap. And so she listened to it for a while and really began enjoying it. It was all of the best rappers. And she found herself sort of transfixed and transformed with it. And then she got onto her day, and that was the end of that. And then about that same time, she's receiving this feeling as she was coming out of meditation one morning, because her mind was really quiet, and as the thoughts started to flow, she had these really, really profound thoughts, because when you're meditating, you quiet your mind, and when you quiet your mind, you tune into source energy. And so that's when all the powerful, important things can be received by you. And Esther received this really strong feeling about moving some furniture around in her house. You thought it would be world peace or something like that, but that was the thought that came to her. And she thought, that would be nicer over there, and that would be better down at the lower house, and that would be better upstairs. And then she thought, I cannot move this stuff around. And so she got online and she found 2 men in a truck. And she called them and she said, I don't need the truck, I just need 2 men. Because I have some things to do. And so the next day, these delightful young men showed up at her house, and they moved this over there, and 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 this over there. Esther really liked them. She kept thinking of new things for them to do. This over there, and this over there, this over there, this over there. Oh, maybe that was better where it was. Oh, maybe that was better where it was. They had a lot of fun together. And then they want to know who she is, what she's doing, because she's too playful for someone. They're not used to playful people in that neighborhood. And so, and at her age, they're not used to playful people. And so they are curious about her, and she was curious about them too. And they were talking about the beautiful day. And one of them said, it is beautiful, but I'm leaving. And Esther said, why? And he said, I'm going back to Alabama. And Esther said, why? And he said, because I am a rapper. And I have some things going on there, and it's not working out so well for me out here, but it was going better back there, so I'm going back there. And Esther said, hold on a minute. So she went to her contraption, pushed a few buttons, and the most magnificent rap is now playing through the gardens and through everything. And Esther, she's got her moves. She had practiced for a whole day. So she went out, and their eyes are very, very big. And they say to Esther, what do you do? And Esther said, I'm a teacher. And they said, what do you teach? And Esther said, rap. And for a moment they believed her, until she said, I'm just kidding. And so now they have bonded on all kinds of levels. And so Esther gets a book or two and signs them. And this man is so interested and so excited and so exhilarated. They just had such a wonderful time together. And off they go, happier than they have been, and leaving Esther happier than she has been. And we just want you to feel the sequence of being in the receptive mode and what it leads to. In other words, Esther did not need to move her furniture around. But you know how we tell you the stories of the birds that often will fly into your experience and bring a message to you that you might not receive otherwise? And so we talk about step 1 and step 2. You ask, source answers. If you're in the receptive mode, you receive the answer. And so sometimes when you are really tuned in, you get to be, by the utilization of source, the step 2 in someone else's equation, so that giving and receiving become the same frequency. And so that's where Esther was. She'd awakened, she was feeling good, she had meditated, she had felt the inspiration, and she called at the precise moment the company that would bring to her someone who was looking for exactly what she had. Because your inner being knows where you are in relationship to everything that you want. Your inner being knows where you stand in relationship to everything you want, and what the path of least resistance is to get you to it. So Esther's inner being knew where her path of least resistance was for a glorious experience. And this man's inner being knew where he was in relationship to receiving through the path of least resistance the information that he was looking for. And so in their joyful states, they were each in the receiving mode, and circumstances and events are orchestrated. But this is the part that we want you to hear. So in the receptive mode, Esther is inspired to playing with her sound system. Well, that had rewards of all manner of things, but none of them as great as getting to meet this rapper that she didn't even know she was looking for. But it was in her vortex. She is a teacher. She is an uplifter. She is always wanting to be of value wherever she can. And she knows that unless someone is asking, they're not going to receive. And so after it all unfolded, she could see the perfection of the unfolding. But while it was unfolding, she could feel the fun and satisfaction of it unfolding. You see what we're getting at? Esther didn't know where we were headed with all of that. She doesn't get the backstory on everything. She couldn't receive Esther. There's a young man out there in the city somewhere who could really benefit by one of your books, and we will help you find him. And now she's out there looking around. Is it you? 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 The universe knows, the non-physical energy knows, and law of attraction is orchestrating it. And so in your moment-to-moment satisfaction, you receive an impulse. And so this is the thoughts turning to things that we're wanting, getting ready to be ready, 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 to be ready. And how are you ready to be ready? You're satisfied. And then how are you ready to be ready? You're satisfied. And how are you ready to be ready? You're satisfied. In other words, you continue to be ready, 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 to be ready. And there's satisfaction in every point of readiness. You see what we're getting at? Because you're tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and you are in your place of whatever it is. There's resistance all over your trail, and it doesn't even matter, because your inner being knows what your path of least resistance is. And in your satisfaction, even though you don't have the Tesla in the garage, or even though these things have not yet fully manifested, because you're satisfied about this and satisfied about this and satisfied about this, things just keep unfolding until the escalation of the energy becomes such that you can hardly believe that this wonderful thing is happening to you. We cannot even describe in words the joyful experience that these people were having together, because law of attraction had brought cooperative components together for mutual benefit. You see what we're getting at? So, yes, you're asking and others are giving, and you're giving and others are asking, and Source is aware of all of it. But when you get tuned in, so that this receptive mode is where you hang around most, then you just get another good idea and another one and another one. That's that receiving that we were talking about. And it's subtle. It's not the skies open and music plays in the background, unless Esther's got her fingers on the button, and then skywriting happens or burning bushes happen, or it's subtle. You've got to tune yourself to the subtlety of receiving.